What's going on? We back again. Now, got another question from my brother right here. My question is, what do you feel about the role of man today? What I mean by that is of course, if you look over evolution and time periods, you can obviously tell that the psyche, the energy, and the thoughts of man has changed over time. What do you feel? Number one, do you feel it's a good thing or a bad thing?
First of all, I want to start off by saying to all the females that watch this, I'm not sexist at all. So, I have no hatred towards women. I have nothing but love for women. So let me just go ahead and put that statement out there. In no way am I advocating male superiority. I'm not doing that either. But you go back in history always says that the woman was the weaker vessel. You go back in time from the beginning of the story, Adam and Eve, the serpent came to the woman. Simpson and Delilah, guess what? Delilah tempted Simpson. Solomon, great king, but his pagan wife had him believe in other gods. Sodom and Gomorrah, I believe it was Lot, his wife. What did she do? She had to turn around, she had to see. Throughout history and throughout storytelling, I admit that it is a male-dominated history. But they're just not making this up. That how some of them have been led astray. So let's fast forward in time. When did this conflict really arise to a forefront? It started when women got the right to vote. Cool, no problem, fine. Started back in World War, I'm not sure, you might have to correct me on this, 1 or 2, I forgot which one it was, but I believe it was 2. When most of the men went overseas and they had to fight. Somebody had to work in the factories, somebody had to work in the mills. Women stepped up to the plate. They did the thing. They helped support the country in its time of need.
That's right.
But something happened emotionally that never happened before. You got to realize these women was on their own for a year, 2 years, months at a time, where they were actually working, taking care of the kids, cooking, cleaning. Basically, they were doing it all.
That's right.
Now, let's go back to Adam and Eve once again. The tree of knowledge. Good and evil. So there's good knowledge and there's evil knowledge. That's a message. People don't pay attention to that.
That's right, my brother.
Good knowledge that she got was that she could support her family and hold it down in a time of need. When her husband, her man, had a greater calling. Whether you agree with the war or not, how it came about, I'm not talking about that aspect of it. But the evil of it was, I don't need him to hold it down. I'm working, I'm keeping the bills up, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, and I'm raising the kids. It lifted a sort of liberation within them. Nothing wrong with that. You deserve to be respected because through history, men have treated women poorly. But what I'm trying to get at is everybody has roles. So when that man returns, she's a little more defiant than she was before. She pushes back a little bit more because in the back of her mind, she knows if he has to go again or things don't work out, I can do it by myself. I have proven it. And if you look back in history before that time, an action like that never took place before. It's not documented nowhere where it took place. Women have led in certain circumstances, but at a significant role like that. So when that happened, then guess what happened after that? You had the women's movement. Burning the bras, birth control. Each little bit getting more and more. Look at the divorce proceedings now. Women automatically get half. You look at courts and sexual harassment. You get rolled up even if she can't prove it. She just say it.
That's right. That's right.
Domestic violence. He hit me. She don't have to have a bruise. She say hit you. Guess what? You got to go away for 72 hours.
Just off word alone.
So what basically they have done is they said, I cannot beat you physically. But don't forget, she was the first one to eat. Other apple. She's beating us mentally.
That's right.
When you break up these roles of man and woman coming together, raising a family, and you take those rules away and you ignore them and you do them your way, then guess what? You're going to have problems. It's not to say that a man is supposed to beat his woman. It's not saying that he's supposed to call her a bitch. But for the men out there, you got to realize too that if you treat her like shit, you going to get shit back in return.
That's right. Exactly.
Now, you don't want her going out, but you go out. You don't want her drinking, but you drinking. Remember, she is your helpmate. Supposed to come together as one. So when you with that woman and you say that you love her, no, scrap love, that you're in love with her, and she's in love with you, that means you're becoming one. And when you treat her wrong, basically if you're one, you're hurting yourself.
That's right.
Now, you can't expect for your woman to be a queen when you treat her like a whore. So what I see right now is I see a whole lot of pissed off women. Fed up with a whole lot of bullshit with men. But in return, when I see that, when a good one does come around, they automatically perceive that he's just like the last one. That has to stop. And for the women, if you act like a bitch, then how do you expect to be treated? No disrespect, but if you rude, you're angry, you're not friendly. Hey, what's wrong if a man comes to you and tells you, hey, how you doing today, shorty? What's good? But you looking real nice.
And that's how that man talk on an everyday basis.
Why are you automatically offended by that? Why don't you just sit down to him and say, I'm feeling pretty good, brother, but please don't come to me in that way. You know what I'm saying? I'm a woman. I want to be treated like a woman. I don't like being called short and everything. No disrespect to you as a sister to a brother. I love you. But I'm just saying, this come at me a different way. But I'm doing good. How are you doing today? Don't automatically just cut his head off. Once again, I go back to that key word, helpmate. And to the men out there, guess what? You got a helpmate because you couldn't do it by yourself. And neither can women. We have to come together as one for things to work. And when we don't come together as one, you have conflict. So what I see right now is, I see a whole lot of men not stepping up to the plate. Men, period. All persuasions, nationalities, religion. It's always a power struggle between the two. Who's going to rule? Who's going to dominate? Who's going to control? Who's going to tell who what? Now, honestly, as a man, and me being spiritual, not really belonging to any religion, but I do believe in one most high, the highest of the highest is supreme. I believe it is structured that a man and a woman supposed to come together and a man supposed to have the final word. He was created first. That's how I personally feel. But with that responsibility, it doesn't mean you don't take into account what your woman has to say. If your woman has a good idea, damn it, you should use it. Don't be so prideful that you sit there and say, I don't want to use her idea. Then when you don't use her idea and her idea works, you get mad when she says, I told you so. Well, guess what? It don't sound good, it don't feel good, but guess what she did?
That's right.
Don't appreciate what God gave you. Once again, what God gave you. Why would you do that? Every time you disrespect a woman, every time you hit her, lay your hands on her, you basically smacking the gift that God gave you.
That's right. That's straight. That's straight from the word.
And to the woman, don't get mad when you have a sorry baby daddy. Was he sorry when you met him? Let's be realistic. Was he responsible when you met him? Was he holding things down? Was he taking care of his business? No. So why are you mad when you get pregnant? He still ain't doing the same thing. He didn't show no maturity before. You shouldn't be surprised he's not showing none now. I'm not saying that it's right, but let's be honest with yourself. Same thing to the men. If you already heard rumors about her already, she get missing. She always arguing with you, talking trash to you. And you got her pregnant. Guess what? Yeah, you got a crazy baby mama, but she was crazy before she became your baby's mama.
Yeah, that's right.
Sooner or later, we got to step up and accept responsibility. But even with that being the case, even though y'all came together and you really shouldn't have, you still had that great responsibility, like I said on another message. So once again, what it turns to back that conflict between men and women. Who gonna have control over the child? Well, at the same time, the child is suffering. I know a lot of times in these things, y'all gonna see me go back to family and the raising of a child, because that's the key thing. A child mind when it's young is like a sponge. It absorbs a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's where most of the brain growth and development starts at those early infant years. So when you put a whole lot of negativity and hatred around it, that kid absorbs that. And it grows throughout the years. So that's why it's important for you to come together and display love for that child, especially in those early years, so you can plant that seed instead of that seed of hate. Which one do you want to grow in your child? It's up to you. And even if the other parent doesn't want to be involved, doesn't really care, still leave that kid with that possibility and that wonder that that other individual does. Do not destroy that mother in front of that child. Do not destroy that father in front of that child. Don't do that. I mean, what are you getting out of that?
Mm-hmm.
That was the individual that helped create them. Why plant that seed of hatred towards them? We got to get a lot of this hate out of our system and move on and accept it for what it is. If you got screwed over by a man, over a woman, hey, it's just the way. It ain't that easy. Yes, it is that easy. Because eventually you're going to have to get over it. Mm-hmm. You still got to go to work. You still got to pay bills. Things still got to get done. We have to focus and do what's right. Because, look, ever since we strayed off that path that was laid before us, the role of a man, the role of a woman, yeah, things weren't perfect, but look at society now. Men are killing their wives. Wives are killing their husband. Kids are killing their parents, killing everybody else. Look at the level of violence that's actually going on in the world. Every time you see a bad leader or somebody that was wicked or evil, they had parents. Somebody raised that son of a bitch.
That's right.
You feel me? Now, was that person nurtured with love? Was that person extra time? How did they get in with the wrong crowd?
Something had to happen.
Something had to happen in a point in that child's life. That's the reason, going back to again, it's important when you plant that seed inside of a woman, when that woman receives that seed, it is a plant. And the nurturing is the love. And if you do not feed the seed correctly, how are you going to have a strong tree?
I don't mean to cut it short, my brother, but in the final last messages, just go around right here.
I understand.
Now, I feel you, my brother. If they don't, hey, like something they say, if don't just listen to the message, listen to the message.
It's just being real.
That's real.